Story time with Gant! So I just finished the manga I sold My Life for 10,000 yen per year, and it kind of put me in an existential mood to reflect on my own life. If you didn't know, I've just made a video about it. So if you're curious, please go give that a watch because it's a fantastic manga. But we're not here to talk about that today because the manga itself made me really think about my 20s especially. Your 20s is a massive time for learning and discovery, and I think a lot of people, myself included, look back on their 20s and think, man, I could have done a lot of things better. A lot of us will have things that we regret or look back on that we wished we could do differently, so I thought I'd do that today with my own life. I was thinking about making this a proper YouTuber structured video, like 5 mistakes I learned from my 20s, but that kind of made me feel like I was making a TikTok life hack video or some shit. So I'm just gonna talk and reminisce and hope that you can find some useful lessons from my incoherent ramblings. If you didn't know, right now I am 31,
Okay,
so
boomer.
I've had plenty of time to come to terms with the fact that I am not in my 20s anymore. A lot of people will feel the existential dread when you're just about to hit 30, and yeah, I definitely felt that for like a short period of time as well. But if there's one thing I think pretty much everyone has in common when they're in their 20s is that you're gonna feel lost. Even if you don't realize it till later in life, pretty much everyone is on this journey of self-discovery and you have absolutely no idea where the fuck you are going. You feel like you don't belong, you feel like you have no idea what you're doing or where you're going, you're kind of just like faking it, and the only comfort I can tell you is that pretty much everyone feels the same way. I think the biggest shock that no one really could have prepared me for is just how absolutely homogenous adulthood feels. Up to a certain point, your life has this predetermined structure where you get to experience new and exciting things every year. You know, like you start off in nursery, then you go to primary school, then secondary school, or if you're America, high school, and then you get to graduate. You know, it constantly feels like you're racking up achievements and going past checkpoints really, really fast. Maybe you're doing really well in exams, you got your SATs or your A-levels or your GCSEs, and then at 18 you get to drink alcohol or start driving cars. There's always something new to look forward to, a new milestone that you get to look forward to, and then you kind of just reach a point where all of that just stops. You know, after you finish education, whether it's in high school or university, you get your first job, and then you really start this routine. You wake up, you go to your 9-to-5 job, you do your grind, you come home, and maybe you play a video game or watch an anime or do something else, and then you wake up the next day and the cycle rinses and repeats. I know a lot of people, myself included, whose routine basically revolved around looking forward to the weekend, where you would get a break from the 9-to-5 routine, get a bit more time to do whatever you wanted. But then after some time, you don't even realize that even your weekends start becoming homogenous. You go to the same pubs, drink at the same bars, hang out with the same group of friends. And it's so easy to fall into this routine because our life before has taught us that new things were always going to automatically come to us, when in reality, that part of our lives was actually the outlier. New experiences won't come to you unless you actively go out and seek it. Your life will stay exactly the same unless you put in the effort to do something about it. And I think that's why in your 20s, it just feels like time just put on the initial D music and just started fucking zooming by. You can blink and a year or two will go by and you wonder, how did you not perceive time like this before? People live pretty long, so you expected all the content in your life to be spread out equally, but instead it felt like all of your content was put in the first 18 to 21 years of your life, and then afterwards life just feels like a constant endgame where you're grinding away to find the next interesting piece of content. By far the best thing about being an adult is that no one can tell you what to do. And by far the worst thing about being an adult is that no one tells you what to do. Which brings me to by far the most important resource I had to learn how to manage: time. You know, the biggest thing everyone tries to aim for in their 20s is try not to be the same broke-ass kid anymore. Money is the biggest resource we try to obtain and grind for, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's not important at all. So I always thought it was a cliche when adults would tell you, take care of your time because that's the most important thing that you'll never get back. But yeah, it's fucking true. Because I always thought it was in the context of, you know, using that time to spend it with your family or loved ones. And here I was in my 20s being like, I'm just trying to make fucking bag, okay? I don't have a kid's birthday party I have to worry about missing. I don't have a wife I have to worry about not spending enough time with, you know? I'm just here to try and get by in life. But after a while, I realized that it wasn't just applicable to that context, but pretty much everything you ever want to do and achieve in life. You know, when you're a kid, time was the one thing you always seem to have an abundance of. yourself no matter what. You had time to do everything you conceivably wanted to do. You know, you talk to a lot of people and they will have like the weirdest skill or experience, and most of that was in high school or university age because they had time to pursue it and do whatever the hell they wanted. But then as you fall into this routine as an adult, you kind of start noticing that you can't do everything that you used to be able to do. You can't play video games for as long as you wanted to. You can't watch anime as easily as you wanted to. And even a lot of things that you told yourself you wanted to do or achieve in life is really hard because you just can't seem to find the time to do it. You know, even now I really want to spend time learning more Japanese or going to the gym. You know, I learned that there were so many things I wanted to do, but not enough time in my life to do it. And that meant that the choices I made about what I did with my time became way more important. After talking to a lot of people my age and all my friends, it's comfort and time that are the two biggest factors that stop people doing what they want to do. And it was these two big realizations that led me to my decision to take a big risk with my own career. Because if you're watching this thinking that there's something you want to do, my honest opinion is that everyone has a great idea. Maybe you have $1 million idea or a great idea for a business or a great idea for a book or story or game or movie. The hard part isn't the idea. The hard part is going out and doing it. Because actually going out and doing it would require commitment, it would require hard work, it would require skills you maybe don't know right now, so that would require learning, so that would require time to put into it you probably think you barely have as it is. And on top of that, you gotta fight the fear of going into the unknown, the fear that this thing you're working on may fail, the fear that you're never even going to be able to finish this thing. There is a lot you need to go through to enact a big change in your life, which is why it's so easy to fall into the comfort of your routine that you've already set up. But the way I saw it is that just by committing to do something and following through with it, you've already done more than 90% of the people out there. Because if there was a time I was comfortable fucking up with my own life, it was in my 20s, so I thought if I don't do it now, then it's only going to get harder to do when I grow older. You know, and I guess that leads into the other things I learned in my 20s, which is finding out what I really value, and as cliched it is, finding out the person that I am. But coming into my 20s, I didn't really have any friends that I shared many interests or values in because, well, I was a nerd and that was pretty much looked down upon by everyone around me growing up. So because of the secret hobbies I had, like anime or gaming, I would keep that on the back burner and I would do the best that I could to really fit in a mold or a friend group. And I remember before going to university, my mum told me that this is the place that you're going to find the friends you make for life. And I was really looking forward to that because I thought maybe this is the time I finally make the same type of friends that other people describe what their true friends were like. But in the end, I didn't make my friends for life, and I fell into the same trap I had before. I tried to be the person I thought other people wanted me to be rather than the person I actually was. And in my attempt to combat loneliness, I filled my life up with hollow people, which in the end only made me feel more lonely. It wasn't until I reached my mid-20s that I actually started to properly find friends who I had a genuine connection with, who I enjoyed their company not just because I was afraid of being lonely, but because I genuinely enjoyed their company. You know, a lot of the people I hung out with before basically revolved around when we would next party or next drink together, and I didn't realize how toxic that was until I found people who actually enjoyed my company for just me being me. And I really wish I'd tried to search for that connection early in life rather than trying to please as many people as possible, because a real connection is something I learned that I really valued in life. But honestly, do I have any real regrets in the terms of things I would actually change about my 20s? Probably not. There are a lot of things in my 20s I wish I did differently, but the way I see it is, all these experiences, both positive and negative, are the experiences that shaped me into the person I am today. And some of those lessons I don't think I would have internalized as strongly if I didn't personally experience it. Because another thing I've come to realize is that everyone goes through life at a different pace. Somewhere along the line you'll realize that the people you watch or the people you see achieving things in news articles or being fucking billionaires or whatever, somewhere along the lines they'll go from being older than you to the same age to younger than you. And I remember the moment it really sank into me was not with real people, but when I looked at some of the adult anime characters I looked up to as a kid, like Onizuka or Misato or Kakashi, and I was no longer younger than them, but instead I was the same age or older than them. And I realized I did not in any way feel as mature as I thought these characters were when I looked at them as a kid. It's hard not to compare yourself with the things other people your age or younger have achieved or are doing right now, but I firmly believe you'll be able to achieve more in life if you're able to stop comparing yourself to others. Because even though everything I've talked about is my experience in my 20s, you're never too young or old to learn something about yourself and really bring a change in your life. I did say that 20s was your time to feel lost, but I don't think there's ever a time you don't feel lost in life in one way, shape or form. So that's all I can think of at the top of my head. I don't know if this video made any sense at all, but I hope you might have got something out of it. And if not, then great, I just got to ramble about my 20s. So, to summarize, hello fellow children.